Blessings, beloveds. Healing only really begins when we surrender. Healing begins when we relax. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about how only when we begin to surrender and surrender the fruits of our labors, of the practice, that only then can we find ultimate freedom, by letting go of the outcome. My name is Sylvia Mordini. This is Inspire, part of my 2022 series, to inspire you in small bits. So how are you doing in terms of this balance between resistance and surrender? Have you found that over the last 2 years, you've developed more resistance to uncertainty and therefore more resistance to surrendering and letting go gracefully? So take a moment and write down in your journal right now. Remember, you can always press pause on this video. The ways that you feel that you have let go, released, or surrendered something just in the last 2 months. Just in the last 2 months. What are ways that you can demonstrate to yourself from yourself that you've practiced releasing, letting go? And then appreciate how far you've come. If you have anything written down, that is to be commended. So these patterns that develop and create all of this emotional baggage, and therefore even an entire emotional paradigm, can be based upon mental resistance. And these are known as samskaras. These patterns that just continue to repeat themselves. Whether you believe in multiple lifetimes or just this one, they will continue to repeat over and over in this one, or from past lives into this one as well. And so the only way that we can get beyond the pattern, we can break free, finally and forever, is through surrender. It's not by the over effort or the resisting against. It's literally offering up. And this is then where we empty out the old emotional residue, and we finally free our minds for more love, for more peace, and for living in a more balanced way. Now, if you're already having a deep reaction to just this concept surrounding surrender, it's often because our emotions are tied up into old stories about giving up. So from my background, this immigrant background, you have to work 10 times harder than anybody else. And I just learned that the number one thing you never do is give up. You never, ever give up. If anything, you just work harder. And I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying that that concept of a sacrifice, of going the extra mile, of never giving up, is just an innate one that feels really part of the DNA. So maybe in your family, maybe you came from humble means, maybe you too have an immigrant background, or you've just learned this concept perhaps from athletics, and you had success as a kid, that you never give up. Even if you're hurting, if you're in pain, doesn't matter, you never give up. And another way and place in my life that I can share where this had a detrimental effect was when I was married. There's a balance between, okay, never giving up, and giving up the first moment that something's challenging in a relationship. But even when I was experiencing the depths of abuse, and my PTSD from the abuse was getting worse and worse, and my anxiety attacks were increasing, I just thought I had to stay in that. I had to stay in the pain and the suffering, because this idea of and story around never giving up was so ingrained, right? So I've overstayed in jobs that I didn't enjoy and that had toxic environments. Overstayed even in places and homes that I said, I feel different about. the situation now. But that idea of never giving up was really just part of who I was. So I had to work hard to learn a letting go. So how does that show up? It could be if you're reading a book right now, or you have a pile of books next to you on a nightstand in your bedroom that you started but you're not enjoying, so you're not finishing. It's okay to just release them, put them back on the shelf, give them away, let them go. Surrender to the fact that you didn't enjoy them, you made an attempt. The outcome wasn't about finishing the book, it was about the attempt itself. And you had no idea what the expectation was going to be. But it's unusual to think that every single book that we pick up, we're going to enjoy immensely. Or every single book that we pick up, we have to read from cover to cover, even if it's making us miserable. Why would we do that with our precious time? So there's that resistance. Like, we have to do it. We have to see it through to the end. We can't give up not reading that book. But that's a small thing. But take a look at your nightstand. Or maybe some of us learned it in keeping our clothes. And even things that now have holes, that have seen a better day, that have literally been worn and enjoyed, it's okay to release them, to let them go, and surrender even the memories that we associate with some of those things, and continue on. They can go on to serve someone else, or they can just go on because they've served you. But surrender is really what allows life to offer her very best to us. And when we are unable to be in a state of surrender, it's as if we don't believe the words of Paulo Coelho in The Alchemist, that the universe is conspiring on our behalf, that there's some part of us that believes that things are out to get us. So we can't trust the universal energies around us to be in our support. So therefore, I can't relax. What's going to happen to me if I relax? I can't surrender to a power that's greater than mine, that I am not the only one creating my life, but that this is a co-creative experience for all of us, for all of us. So what is there to unpack for you that may imply that there's work there to unearth about trust, and then really dive deeper into the relaxation part of surrender? When is the last time you felt completely relaxed? How old were you? Where were you? Was it related to something? And just consider, what would it take to allow yourself to feel that same state of relaxation today? And for those of you saying, I can't remember when I've been fully relaxed, when I've just like completely given in, then let's go deeper into that, because the nervous system, and believe me, my nervous system started to get trained through the PTSD that to be afraid of everything and that the world is unsafe. So I've had to really work hard to activate my relaxation response, the antidote to fight or flight, so that I believe that I am safe, that I can trust. So I remember beginning to teach yoga, and the last pose is lying down, for those of you that have never seen or attended a yoga class. And there's so many people, maybe this is you, that the lying down pose, they're just shaking, they're looking around, it's really uncomfortable, but they 100% can't relax. This is like the end. We've worked hard, now this is like a little nap at the end. and they just can't. It's a learned process, especially if you've not had experiences of relaxation and total surrender into trust. So if we're not able to relax, to surrender, we'll find that the samskaras, these patterns of struggle, will continue to just shine out. And even if you change jobs, find the same struggles. Change jobs again, find the same struggles. Change partners, same thing. So the emotional element of our internal struggle always requires so much energy. But in that energy exchange that we're feeding it to stay in the resistance and the struggle, that's what prevents us from moving forward. Because surrender is a way to release the weight of the world. And when we can do that, then it's so much easier to move forward on your journey. And otherwise we get just packed down. And there's a book about the Decorator Crab that one of my students wrote years ago. And if you're unfamiliar with the Decorator Crab, it literally comes up from the bottom of the ocean, crawls on the beach, finds all the little stuff that we've left, puts it on its back to decorate itself, and then dives back into the ocean and does this every day. Bottom of the ocean, comes back up, collects something else, and it keeps putting more and more stuff on its back. And finally, at some point, as it dives into the water, it gets so heavy and burdened and weighed down, it can't swim back up to the surface and to the shore, to its own demise. But we do that energetically, mentally, and in ways that are the same. We just continue to burden ourselves and weigh ourselves down, and we can't just surrender it off and let go of the residue, empty it out, relax. And that's why it feels so heavy to move forward. And so one of the things that really changed my life the most in learning to relax was not learning to relax my body. My body knows tired, working out, absolutely, my body knows tired, but my mind didn't know how to relax. And in your journal right now, take a moment and just write down any way that you learned how to relax from your family of origin, mother, father energies. What ways did you learn how to relax? And remember, you can always press pause on this video or come back to this question. But if you look at what you wrote, is it a long list of ways that you learned how to relax from your family of origin? A short list? No list? And that's not unusual. That a lot of us have been taught and learned how to work hard, how to work harder, but we haven't really been taught how to relax. And so be easy on yourself if relaxation and what that means for mental health, if that's just something new to you. And so meditation is the answer to learning how to relax the mind. For the mind can get really wired, the body can be tired, and if those two things are in two different frequencies, then it's hard to relax. And we can only ever heal if we're relaxed, if we're in that state of surrender. So learning to meditate a little bit at a time, we learn how to relax the mind. And the chaos, it doesn't go away completely, but it quiets down. So if you think of the ocean and really turbulent water, all of a sudden the waves just get a little bit more quiet. They don't get completely still, but they get more quiet, and the mind begins to relax. And from there, that constriction softens, and it even feels like our temples widen. And when the mind learns to relax, we have a more powerful means to learn how to surrender. And surrendering to what is, even with our desires and our intentions, but being with what is, and then moving from there, not so weighed down by what hasn't happened or what did happen, but allowing ourselves moment to moment, day by day, week by week, to surrender in little parts, so that then we can continue moving forward in the flow. So let me know if this is resonating with you, and how the last 2 years have really impacted your relationship with any sort of stuckness, resistance, and surrender and relaxation. Bringing our hands to our hearts. Take a big breath in with me. Open mouth, exhale. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love that. Love, love, love that. For now, may you love yourself, love your day, and love your life.